Boom! Oh man, what a shitty night. I'm sorry, I'm late, but just sorting out some important stuff, and I'm tired, but that's okay. How you all doing? How you all doing? I'm sorry, it is very late today. I'm going to keep it short because of that. But that is where we're at the moment. I'm shattered at the moment. I'm so. I won't go into it, but it just is what it is. Oh man. So anyway, good to see you all. That person looks happier and much more hair actually. Let's do this. Here we go. It's actually the face is pretty similar now that I look at it. It's just the hair thing. What can you do? Anyway, let's go through the topics for tonight. I'm sorry, and you know, bloody, never mind. Never mind. Got people messaging me with all sorts of shit at the moment, and all sorts of crap going on. I can't do anything at the moment, so I'm sorry. Not plastered, no, just tired, exhausted, and blah. So anyway. Hanami, it's awesome. It happened this weekend. We went out. It was lovely. It's cold in Tokyo, which means that the cherry blossoms are going to last until next week. The long-term forecast at the moment says that it will be rain next week, but you don't really know what's going to happen with that, you know. So, oh shit, that's my battery. So, you know, it still is too early to say if it's going to rain or not. But you know, you get a little bit of rain most years. This time of year, you know, spring in Japan, the weather is just consistently shitty. So, yes, Mwenja I was going to blame, but, so, oh, it's good to see everybody there, thank you for all the hello. So anyway, they say it's going to be rain next week, but it still is far too early to tell. So, you know, wait and see. The good news is that because it's been so freezing cold, usually it would be over by next week, but it might survive until next week, because it's not supposed to be too warm. It's going to get warm towards the end of this week, but it should... go on to be, yeah, apart from the rain, if that can come and go quickly, and if it doesn't wipe out all of the cherry blossoms as a result, then we actually have a shot next week at having a decent Hanami. If we don't, if it is going to be rain, well, I doubt it's going to be rained out. It'll be a couple of showers and stuff, and honestly, that's not a good reason to cancel it, especially to move it to a time when it's not going to be on, and, you know, frankly, I wouldn't go. There is a fake echo. Oh, is there a problem with the sound? I don't really care at the moment. But that is interesting, actually, if there is. Rumbles EB. Anyway, I'm going to go into the battery settings just so that it stops freaking out on me and pausing on that. So anyway, if there is rain, we're going to go to the Shibuya Hub, which is open from 2 p.m. and I'm going to be in there early because it's going to fill up. And I'm also going to figure out some information for local convenient karaoke places, and don't know about you guys, I'm going to do some karaoke or something. So yes, there is a plan B. The plan B is not bad. Actually, there's going to be a lot of people coming in who I'm very much looking forward to seeing on the day, so it's going to be awesome, and it doesn't really matter. And honestly, a little bit of rain, you always get a little bit of rain, and it's always crap weather when it's cold, but that's not the point. You're supposed to, it's like climbing Mount Fuji, you're supposed to do it, and suffering is part of the experience, so you just, you know, suck it up and do that stuff. So I have taken it off the low power mode, which means it won't be dropping out every 10 seconds. And we're back. It's good to see. Wow, especially given that it's like 20 minutes past midnight. I'm usually like asleep by now. And I'm sure a lot of you people who are watching are, but you stayed up and you're joining, which is great. And I'm sorry again that it's so late, but it was unavoidable tonight. Just lots of stuff to sort out. No, Phoenix 787, the Tokyo Sports Cafe, has a terrible idea because people are going to be walking from Shibuya. And Shibuya to Roppongi is just really, really difficult to go to. And no, it's got to be somewhere close to the park, and that's why we use the hub as a gathering place. And we'll come up with some information about some other stuff during the week. But you know, but at the end of the day, no, I'm sticking with the, you know, hoping. Well, the weather forecast isn't set yet; it's way too early. And you know, this is what you get. I mean, we actually got super lucky that there's even going to be cherry blossoms at all. Setting the time as stupidly early as we did. You know, I mean, Kuni, to his credit, told everyone to piss off who would try to put pressure on him to set the time, and he would always set it like 1 week before the event, which would piss everybody out of town off. But as a result, it was always a great Hanami. Yeah, it is what it is. It's going to be, anyway, hopefully it's going to go well, and if it doesn't, there'll be a plan B, but we'll improvise on the day. If people want to go off to Roppongi or whatever, they can do what they like. Yes, Victor's texting me in the middle of the live thing, which says that you're not watching. Victor, why aren't you watching? You should be watching every single video that I put up, but you're texting me in the middle of this. So there you go. What can you do? It's 11:19 in Philippines. Good to know that. Temiko, I'm going to try to keep it super interesting and short, although you know that I try to do that in every show and I never succeed. But I'll do my best. Okay, I'm getting into it now. I'm sorry. I was feeling kind of shitty at the start of this. But I'm bringing it around. I'm bringing it back. Right, so Hanami party stuff. I've put the link to the page, the Facebook page, the event page. Come. Don't know if we'll be able to do anything live. There's going to be a thing. I'm going to come and talk to you a little bit later about the mobile. Every week I think I've complained about there not being a mobile YouTube app, and it's coming, and that might allow us to live stream this. But the reception is always pretty crap in Yogi because there's so many people there. But anyway, if you want the information on the event, I'm going. A bunch of other people are going. It's going to be huge, a couple hundred people, and it's like the main event. So hey, for you people in, it's kind of cool seeing the times down the side there actually. For the people in Michigan, Scotland, Ottawa, I'm glad it's actually probably more sociable for you people to come and join. So that's a good thing. So anyway, I've put in the event for the Hanami, and be there or be, oblongish, which actually, I mean, it's hip to be square, to quote Huey Lewis. So it can be a good thing, but you should come, even if you live in a different country. You don't have an excuse, because people fly in for this thing, and it's always awesome, and you can meet me. One thing, there's like 160 people confirmed there, and I know that I always plan all the people I want to meet, all the people I want to talk to, and the truth is, to have a proper conversation with any one person, I really have to talk with them for at least 10 minutes, often 5 minutes if there's someone, if there's someone you want to talk to. It's really impossible to talk for less than 5 minutes, but when there are 160 people there that you want to talk to, and you multiply that by 10 minutes per person, there's not enough time in the day. You only end up, if you want to talk to everybody, you have to be an asshole to everybody and just talk for like 60 seconds and say time's up and go on to the next person, or you miss out on talking to half the people, and it's usually the latter that happens. I just miss out on talking to a bunch of people that I want to talk to. So don't worry, Ty, as I was saying, it is hip to be square, or at least it was in 1989. And it probably still is. So yeah, we'll see you in future. By the way, I just want to tell Ty, I didn't actually comment yet, and I haven't been on. I've just had the shittiest day you wouldn't believe. Your latest track, Tai Nakamura's latest track on SoundCloud, is the shit. It's really, really good. Really liked it. So good job on that. Go check it out. It's got like a shamisen reggae kind of electronic thing. It's really good. I mean, man, I really like. And I know it's kind of hard to define, and we're talking about like your self-label or whatever, but damn, it's just awesome, whatever it is. Anyway, so good job on that. I did a couple of posts this week. I did a couple of notes and mini blogs on Facebook. The first one was, it was my 17th anniversary of being in Japan this year, back when I had hair and I looked like that, and I was at Dance Revolution karaoke cafes in Korea with a Japanese guy and 2 Korean girls, and had quite a good time. It was quite good. And I had hair. I lost it pretty quick. That's what happens when you're speaking Japanese and working here all the time. But yeah, it uses music. It's really, really good. That's Nicholas Rapp. I don't know. I'm getting deja vu about that. Have you suggested that before? Charge 1,000 yen a minute for a talk with me? It's actually, no, I'm not going to do that. But prostituting out my conversations, it might work. It might actually be quite good. It could be a new line of business. It could work. People find me that interesting. Bad AI. Well, so this week there were kind of 2 big stories about AI that freaked me out. We had the big beating the Go thing, but I don't play Go, and frankly I don't really care about that. But there were 2 stories in the news today that kind of this week that freaked me out about artificial intelligence. The first one was not. I mean, everyone's talking about Microsoft Ty freaking out. We'll get to that. But the first one that actually freaked me out before that was that there was a essay competition in Japan. I believe it was in Japan. And there was actually, where is the link here? I'll put the link up. the story is that there was an essay competition. An AI-written novel passes the first round of a literary competition. This is the Hoshi Shinichi Literary Award in Tokyo. Now, it's possible, of course, that the reviewers just didn't read it, but it sounds like, there's been this talk about how AI is now able to creatively create novels and, lucid sort of intelligence, like independently, conversations and so on. And the fact that they actually now, it made me kind of just click. If you have AI that can actually like generate something like a novel, and a novel that's coherent enough that it actually passes a review in a literary competition, then you're talking about AI. I've always been kind of smug about the idea that AI wouldn't be able to replace things which require abstract and nuanced thought. You could program, certain types of analysis and so on around certain parameters that you put in. But the idea of being able to do, a situational sort of analysis, and this has always been why, and I talk about this in my little blog note, this is the reason why AI doesn't work, or it hasn't worked to date, with translation, for example. Translation's always been crap because they tried to, first treat translation like now how do I go back? Oh, here we go. They tried to treat it like a computer language thing, and it's not like that. It's actually, it's very situational. It's very rote memorization. You have to learn a lot of stuff. And I should just mention as well that there was had a very some good comments and discussion. The comments by Jack Simura down the bottom are, like, to me, actually more mind-blowing than the article itself. You should read the article, read my post, and read the comments by Jack, because Jack Simura is awesome, and he's actually very knowledgeable about this stuff. But it kind of made me click. I thought it would take a long time before you get really coherent, like real-time translation or stuff like that, or be able to do stuff like, for example, stuff which requires, for example, legal, analysis, or certain professions that take certain, or book writing or stuff like that. And you always presume those would be professions that would be safe as things would get more automated. But looking at this, it just made me realize those professions are not safe at all, and that's kind of freaking. What can you do? I mean, if lawyers are going to be reduced to just checking that their computer didn't do anything freaky, and same with driving. I mean, people are going to be in trucks, at least for a time, just sitting there making sure the truck doesn't do anything weird, which is going to be pretty hard, actually. Obviously, the end goal is just going to be that the trucks are just going to drive themselves, taxis are going to drive themselves, they're not going to have drivers. But we'll have, I guess, people doing the menial task of supervising computers for a short time. But pretty soon, a lot of jobs, but not just things like, driving, but things like actual, like, translation and analysis and stuff, which I thought was a long way off being in danger. This made me realize, holy crap, it's actually in danger in the very short term, which is kind of awesome. The upside is it's a bit like DJing. I often talk about, I've got my decks, got my ones and twos over here. I talk about how, a lot of people talk about how, now that everyone uses digital and there's auto beat matching and stuff like that, they're not really mixing, and the art is lost, and it is lost to an extent. But at the same time, when you're mixing records, for example, it takes, I'm not that good, so it takes normally about, to listen to it and match it up and find the place to start and check and test it a couple of times, it takes about 1.5 minutes. And when you're playing 3 to 4 minute tracks, that means you're spending more than half of your time matching up tracks. You always dream, every time I go and play a set at a big club, when I go and play a big DJ set, I'd always kind of have an idea. I'm going to dance around, I'm going to wave towels, I'm going to wave at everybody, I'm going to, get a sampler and, do all sorts of cool stuff. And I never did any of that stuff because I was just completely occupied with trying to get the next track set up, to pick the next track, get it lined up, and get it playing perfect. What this computer stuff, the automated beat matching does, is all that stuff that I used to spend 80% of my time on, now I am free, or I would be if I had a computer and I actually DJ'd with the new equipment, which I don't. I've only got the old equipment because it's beautiful. But at the same time, I'm not against the new technology. The new technology means those kids now who are mixing, doing what I used to do, have all this time to do all the things that I wanted to do but couldn't do because I was too busy focused on that one task. And that's what's going to happen with a lot of this other stuff. This technology, is going to take the manual labor out of things like legal discovery, a lot of aspects about academic research, footnoting, all this sort of stuff, which takes a lot of time. It's going to facilitate that, and it's going to give you more time to focus on higher things. But the question is, the AI is going to be coming up pretty fast behind you, and you're going to have to figure that out. And that's kind of what we're going to have to figure out, what we're going to do, and maybe more jobs than I was realizing are in danger. Kind of, when I saw that this thing passed this first round of a novel competition, I freaked out. And whenever I wrote about freaking out and the discussion that follows with Jack Zimmer, which was just like awesome in that. So go read that, because that's just kind of, freaky and awesome. The other thing is, of course, bad AI, and this was the other freak out that I had, which was also to the story of the racist, misogynist, genocidal Microsoft artificial intelligence on Twitter. And this, of course, was funny. I mean, this was funny. And just to hear, like, what happened, the fact that, Microsoft trusted an artificial intelligence to be taught by the people of the internet what to say and what to think. And that they immediately started saying Hitler was right, and minorities or feminists or whatever, burned in hell. The fact that it was doing that within a couple of days, I'm sorry, that's objectively funny that kind of happened, even though the things that they were saying was terrible. But it's a terrible reflection on humanity that this is what happens when we have a tool simply use the internet to learn what humanity is about, and this is what they become. But yeah, and it was super fun hearing the story being reported on NHK, where they had to translate and explain what it was saying. So they were actually saying on NHK in broadcast, very polite, very perfect spoken Japanese, Hitler was correct about all the things that he did, and and it was trust the internet, exactly. By Ming, you've got it. So hilarious, true. But then I started thinking again, well, you know what, the thing is, a bunch of trolls went and helped this artificial intelligence to become a troll, and a very coherent and conversational, I mean, we hate to say that trolls are coherent, but they are in their own way, right? And of course this was unintentional, but the thing is, this makes you realize you could create something like this on purpose if you wanted to troll or stalk or do something like that. I mean, people already use these tools, I'm sure, but the negative potential for the use of this sort of AI to do horrible things to people, which these people probably who did this are already saying. Sorry, some mint. I just felt like I need to freshen up. That's kind of scary as well, and not just the idea of stalkers or haters or trolls and stuff like that, but actual criminal stuff as well. I mean, thinking about the ability social engineering, combining data mining with targeted marketing for illegal loan sharking and stuff like that. My mind just started to go that although this is incredibly funny, the implications of the use of AI for helping different types of very antisocial people take advantage of other people is suddenly it's freakishly huge. The economy based on con artistry and deception, the 419 Nigerian scams, the Nigerian princes and stuff like that, the calling up, contacting grandmothers and saying, wire me money, I've been in a car accident, and all this sort of stuff. That only exploits like a 0.01% of the population, vulnerable, intellectually weak people at the moment it targets. But with this sort of AI, you'd be able to target a much bigger portion of the population. The economy that currently relies on that, mobsters are going to go to town with this sort of technology. So while it was funny, and I did laugh out loud for a long time, that's right, not so fresh feeling. And yeah, and I understand data mining is AI driven, but I think when you combine the different types of AI that are coming out, the ability not just to interpret and mine data, but also to be able to actually query, present the results, and actually even, for example, if you think about it in a malicious sense, someone who could deceptively try to call someone to get information. That's kind of freaky. I mean, you wouldn't need, the whole point is you wouldn't need Nigerian princes anymore. The reason they use Nigerian princes is they're looking for people who are, frankly, intellectually almost disabled. They're looking for the Forrest Gumps. That's why they do this. They use stories that are not plausible to normal people to get the people who are easily gullible and deceived. Often for reasons of, super low IQ or something like that. They're trying to filter out the normal people who could retaliate and target the weak people. this technology makes us all weak people. That's what's kind of freaky to me. So anyway, it's kind of, I thought that was interesting. I had two freak out moments. One, our jobs are gone, and two, we're all going to become debt slaves to mobsters. But apart from that, it was very funny. Yeah. Sorry, slightly dark note there, but what can you do? 17 years in Japan this week, March 23rd, the date that I landed in Japan in 1999, and I've been here ever since. Got a new passport the other day as well. This is kind of nice. But yes, it's been 17 years in Japan. Every year I kind of look at it, on different perspectives. I've looked at it mostly from my own life perspective until now. Like, I was a dork. Well, I'm still a dork, but I was a different type of dork. I was like a naive, over self-confident, self-righteous dork. And well, actually, come think of it, I still am naive and self-confident. Well, I'm awkward. Yeah, no, I haven't changed that much. I've lost hair, and I've grown body hair. I've taken on health hair. It's kind of funny. I've taken a lot of habits that I didn't do in New Zealand, like playing rugby and kickboxing and stuff like that. But yes, but you can talk about the personal side, and I kind of reflect on that every year and just think about the ways that my life has sort of changed. And Jesus, I've just turned 40, so hitting that official middle age. I'm going to go buy a Ferrari or something, or maybe a shitty Toyota sports car or something. I don't know. I feel like I'm just going to do it now. But forget about all of that. I wanted to take a different angle. So you look back at it. How far has Japan come? How far has society come? That's kind of freaky again to think. 17 years ago, I mean, what did we have? I'll put it up here. Mobile phones were like brand new. A lot of people still didn't have them. It was kind of something which I would show off. And the Japan phones were super small and super cool. You carry them overseas and everyone would love them. NTT had iMode, which was like the first. These were the closest things to a smartphone, like with a special internet that you could use. And Japan was the absolute world killer with mobile phone technology. Text messaging was brand new. People used dial-up modems for everything. ISDN was like super high speed if you were like super rich that you would have. We had the year 2000 problem, which provoked the whole IT boom in Japan, and I was working on that at the time. I mean, Amazon was brand new. Google was barely even known yet. I used to use Alta Vista to search, and it was great. I love the search query language that you could use for it. Apple was kind of failed apart from being like graphic stations and stuff like that. There was I can't even imagine, no Twitter, no Facebook, no YouTube. Napster wasn't even out yet. People didn't know what MP3s were. I had 100 co-hires at my IT company that I joined, and we all were sharing so many MP3s over the company internal network that we actually collapsed the entire company network, and they didn't know why. It took them a long time to figure it out, that we were just transferring such volumes of data. So, it's kind of, it's just a funny, when you wanted to meet in Tokyo, there were like only two places that you can meet anyone up. It had to be at the top of an hour, and it had to be either by the dog, by Hachiko in Shibuya, or Altamai in Higashi Shinjuku. And you'd just be thousands of people waiting at these places each time. And if you were late or whatever, you couldn't call, half the time. There were rows of payphones for people having to use payphones if they were going to be late. I tell you what, GTR R34, I'd love to get a Nissan Skyline GTR R34. I've driven a GTS Turbo, which isn't a GTR at all. I've never driven a GTR, but I've driven a GTS Turbo. Back in New Zealand, actually, back around this time, just before I came to Japan, and that thing kicks ass. I tell you, I put the foot down on that, and the turbo, it's like, you feel like you're in a Tomcat, being propelled off an aircraft carrier when you put the foot down on that. So those are fun cars. People here feel young and people here feel super old. Well, I feel kind of old. It's kind of just funny, like, to think. The whole point of this is, I don't even fully remember how I even used to get by with no internet, with no mobile phones, with, no maps, none of that sort of stuff. So I thought that was kind of, Nibirugi, good to see you. And by the way, good to see a lot of new usernames, by the way. I say this every week, but Nibirugi is another name I don't recognize, and it's good to see you. Do I like the usage of kisetsu no aisatsu? I think you mean kisetsu. You don't need two S's for that. No, aisatsu. And when you say kisetsu, season's greetings, what are you talking about? Season's greetings make sense in English for what you say around Christmas time, but in Japan they don't really have a kisetsu aisatsu that I'm aware of. But anyway, we are all old and young in our own different ways, right? You can be young and old, and you can definitely be old and young, and you can just be confused and awkward. I mean, that's what I try to be all the time. So anyway, let's go on. Rochelle Kopp's coming back to Tokyo. She's of course going to be here for the Hanami. It's going to be awesome. Lara, you are not old. Don't worry about it. You are awesome. Rochelle Kopp's coming back to Tokyo. We're going to re-record the series that we screwed up and I haven't been able to edit because I suck. And and she'll be at the Hanami, and she's also going to do another working effect of the Japanese. Oh, and there's going to be a discount code, same as last time actually, which I'm going to have to put in. Which I haven't gotten around to, but you can get 30% off if you can convince your company. It's expensive, so you will want to get a corporate. It's a corporate rate, so you'll need to get your company probably to foot the bill, unless like you're super rich. But for what it's worth, you can get a 30% discount if you use a code that I will provide that I can't remember right now, but it's there and I'll provide it. But in any case, you'll get to see Rochelle in person at the Hanami. We're going to be there together, and it's going to be awesome. Japan business time, and joy of Japanese business coming back, so that's going to be awesome. We have New Zealand. New Zealand this week voted not to adopt the alternate flag design, which instead of that Union Jack there, was going to have a black fern design, a lot like my New Zealand passport actually. I don't know if I can show that, but that's New Zealand passports all pretty cool. They're black and they have these fern designs on. Everything in New Zealand uses the fern design. So I liked the new design, and I certainly liked it a lot better than the old design that you can see up there, which it's not a bad flag, but it doesn't mean anything. It just means that some British naval ships came to New Zealand and they really couldn't think of anything better than slapping their own flag on the ocean and painting some stars randomly red and calling it New Zealand. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't represent who we are or what we are, what we're doing. But that said, it lost. Maybe I can just see on the Herald article, maybe they have the I'm sure there'll be a picture of the design if it loads properly. But anyway, I voted for the new flag just because new flag looks better. It actually means something. And Canada could change it. Why can't New Zealand change it? I thought, but New Zealand can't change it because we suck. And this is why this is the point of the thing which I wrote there. I've been away 17 years from New Zealand, and I must admit, at times like this, I feel like New Zealand is just kind of petty and stupid. Every time I would even get into, hey, let's just change the bloody flag, it's stupid anyway. You can kind of see in the background the fern design behind that person there. Whenever people get into it, they would basically, the reasons that they were, people would say, oh, I don't like the design. And if you don't like the design, that's okay. But frankly, I don't think you could take almost any design and it would be better than the current one. So this isn't actually much of a picture of the current one. But the reasons that most people gave when they would be like, well, I don't want to change the flag, they would say, well, I don't want to change the flag because I don't like that the Prime Minister got a bunch of his friends to, stack the committee to pick the final selection of designs that were just what the Prime Minister wanted and weren't based on design sense or not what I wanted. I quite like the design that came out, actually. It's one that I would have chosen anyway, so I was happy with it personally. Maybe my taste is the same as the Prime Minister, but for everyone it was just like, oh, this is the Prime Minister wanting to make himself famous, or a bunch of his friends, and waste of money and all this sort of stuff. Well, it is a waste of money because we voted against it. And what it comes out is Kiwis are just kind of petty and whiny and really conservative and don't believe in changing anything for the sake of change. And the result of that is that we're not going to change the flag ever now. Ever. So long as New Zealand exists, they say it's going to happen when we become a republic, but we're not going to become a republic because New Zealand just won't do that. It's gone from being my mother country that I could kind of relate to and understand and represent, and now I feel more distant from it, and things like this make me feel like, I'm not really like a New Zealander anymore. I don't think like the very angry people that I was talking to who were against changing the flag. And I find that the old flag and our attachment, love Britain. My sister lives in Britain. Some of my best friends are British. But, I think it's kind of lame how we just cling on to Britain like so strong. We rejected our own independence under the Statute of Westminster passed in 1931. We were the only holdout country that didn't accept it until 1947. We didn't want to leave Britain. The flag, the Queen, all of that stuff, we're going to keep it forever, and it's just because New Zealanders are insecure with their identity, which is kind of lame. And as I say in my blog, we don't have to go full Australia. We don't have to be like obnoxiously, assertively confident about ourselves. But we can still be nice and still not be English, because we're not. But to most people it's just like, well, we don't need to say that we're not English, it's okay as it is, why you have to change it, hate the Prime Minister. Well, it's fine, but again, you're kind of lame, and to me it's socks and sandals. It's just unfashionable and slightly embarrassing uncle. It's like, I love it, I love my home country, I'm not disowned from it, but I just feel a little bit embarrassed to be associated with it sometimes, as I do as a result of the flag referendum. Although congrats, most people voted to keep the flag, and it's a perfectly okay flag. It looks like the Australian one. I couldn't tell the difference till I was about 8 years old. It just means that we're just going to keep having a flag that doesn't mean anything, and looks like 10 other flags. What can you do? Well, no, there was not an explosion. There was my phone buzzed or something. So that's a bit of a rant. But New Zealand, just come on, please, just be cool. All I want is my country to be cool. And almost everybody who's not from New Zealand, and I'm practically in that category myself now, who looked at this and I showed this to, everyone said, yeah, change it. New one looks nice. It's just Kiwis are just lame about this stuff, and it annoys me. It frustrates me. But what can you do? What can you do? I mean, I'm not going to drop my citizenship. Especially not over something stupid like this. But at the same time, yes, Australia is my racist uncle. I actually have racist Australian uncles as well. Not uncles, kind of more distant relatives. But yes, Australia's New Zealand's just kind of embarrassing, but Australia's kind of racist. So yes, I've got both, because my mum's Australian. I actually have family on both sides. This was something Victor was talking about doing last night, actually. There was this article, I've forgotten what the 5 were, so I'm going to look at them again, but he said they were good, and I remember I read it myself. Here are 5 awkward moments that you realize you've become a seasoned expat in Japan. Well, let's find out. So that awkward moment when Japanese stop being interested in you and focus on greeting foreigners, that happens after like 3 months. The panda phase lasts for 3 months. Your literally flavor of the 3 months when you arrive, so that's nothing. I mean, that's something even 1 year you get that. That awkward moment when you lose your gaijin pass and suddenly no one wants to give you a break. Well, that happens pretty quick, especially if you speak Japanese. My gaijin pass probably only lasted for 10 minutes to begin with. It was nice, but the problem is I suck at even pretending to speak bad Japanese. The question, Mr. Cordy Chap, am I racist? Well, I don't think I am part Australian. I have Australia's kind of I look at as being a racist uncle. I love it, but it's racist. The country fundamentally constitutionally is. I mean, it's got issues, but at the same time, I am part of that, and I love Australia, and I would like Australia to improve in those certain areas. As someone who's actually proud to be associated with Australia. But the whole conversation with Baye and Baye's book as well. What Baye talks about, I'll tell you what, I'll say it for this purpose, and as I said on the show with Baye, I'm racist too. I mean, I think everybody is. Everybody is. We all have prejudices, we all have biases, and we can't control those. I mean, I think being self-aware is the only way to control it. If you're denying that you're racist, I think you're more likely to actually act racist. I think it's better to be self-aware of what your biases and preferences are, and just be consciously try to manage them, than it is to dishonestly deny it because you feel political pressure not to. I'm very anti-racist, but I'd say, sure, do I have prejudices? Yeah, I mean, I think everybody has them, and I think the argument that Baye makes about how to deal with them, I found very actually, I mean, like, and it's a fun thing that I have with Baye. Whenever I meet him, it's like, yeah, I'm racist too. It's good. I'm not really that racist. I'm not that racist, but I think you have to be honest with those sort of things. So there you go. What else we got? Someone said I'm not a Highlander. Hiko's not a Highlander. He's a bloody Norman Englishman. That's right, Yorkshire. So that's right, Scandinavian rapists colonised the part of England that I'm mostly from. So there you go. Now they just make crappy, pop music, but they used to rape people. That was kind of awkward in those days. The awkward moment when people stop complimenting your Japanese, that happened a long time ago as well. I mean, sometimes, you go into the countryside, it happens. You know what, this all kind of happens within 1 year. This isn't really season expat, but I've been here 17 years, so I guess my standard is kind of... and that awkward moment when you forget you're a foreigner, this actually happens more often in the beginning than later on. In the beginning, when I was trying so hard to immerse and I wasn't around any other foreigners, it would be kind of freaky to actually catch the mirror every now and then, because I wouldn't look at one very often. Now I'm kind of very comfortable with my gaijin-ness, but at the same time I just don't care. You care about this stuff more in the early days. So those are interesting criteria. Wish you'd a devil dog. I wish if I could own a race car and that would make me race, I'd take the car still. That would be, what can you do? You got no choice in that decision, I think. Interesting here that the apprenticeship scheme set up by the government for foreigners is now starting to catch people working, massively underpaid and long hours, and they're starting to get arrested for making their workers do that. That's awesome. Oh, this was funny. This came up. Oh my god, how am I going to do this show quickly? I can't do this show quickly. I can't. I talk quite fast, but it's just impossible. 10 Tokyo bars crowded with expats. This is by Tsunagu Japan, which is kind of, very kind of dry, but very, very good information. And Peter Durfee immediately tweeted after I put this out, a list of places not to go to. And indeed, let me be clear, these are seedy dive pickup bars. No respectable person would go to these places. I've been to most of them, and I have friends who, whenever they come to Japan, they give me this list, like a shopping list that I have to take them out to. And I've been on some of those excursions many years ago, not recently. And yeah, I mean, honestly, well, if you're a dude, it's, you cannot miss. The only thing is, you'd want to wear like multiple layers of protection if you're going into these places, and with one in particular, I'll tell you the story when we get to it, but yes, you want to be so careful of the people there as well. A971, so that used to be 911. Sorry, I'm having a shag flashback. I'm gonna stop that. Yeah, it's a good bar. It's oh wait a minute, this is in Midtown. I'm thinking of a different place. Okay, well, Midtown's kind of coming up, but Geronimo Shop Bar, I've kind of been in there a little bit. It's, I've got friends who hang out there. It's kind of mellow. Hobgoblin, that is one of the good stand-up bars. It's a bit like the Hub, and my rugby friends go there, watch a lot of rugby games there. That is actually a good place to go to get some food and some drinks, actually. Wall Street Cafe, here we go, Wall Street. If you get picked up, or if you pick up a woman there with large hands, be careful, because I have a friend who can't go to Roppongi anymore because he's too traumatized by the experience that he had. Wall Street's famous for transvestites and people who are going after, it's a really sleazy pickup bar, but it's kind of fun to go to just for that, actually, especially if you go there on the right nights, So, yeah, that's interesting. Motown. I was trying to think, how many? Oh, yeah, a couple not bad ones either, actually. I'm embarrassed. I feel embarrassed even standing. I can't go into this place not intoxicated, because it's embarrassing to be in there. And it's pretty much older people just hitting on young Japanese, attractive Japanese women hitting on older guys. It's terrible. That's it. But Motown House, yes indeed. There's like a couple of them, and super sleazy. It's funny. Yeah, it was a long time ago, but yes, been there, done there. RT Supper Club. I wonder if this is what 911 was. I don't know this one, actually. In fact, some of these are quite new, and this is, again, a sign that I haven't been out for a while, but I'm guessing that these are all the same sort of thing. So you've got Shader Bar, the 300 yen bar, Dubliners Irish Pub. Oh, okay, I know that one. What the Dickens is actually quite good. I quite recommend it. It's good music and so on, good food. They don't have Guest Panic on this list, because I guess they're still trying to keep some sort of standards, but yeah, it's quite fun anyway. And so yes, a list of places not to go to. Actually, I would say from this list, places that I know that you can actually go to. What the Dickens is pretty good, and I'd say Hobgoblin is actually pretty good as well. Those two I'd recommend from this list. And if you want to, just be really careful, because you can stumble out of those places into Wall Street or Motown or Guest Panic, and I can't be held responsible for what happens to you or your life after that happens. But it's fun. So anyway, don't do it. Bad. Don't go there. What I thought I knew before I came to Japan, a Gaijin Pop blog. What do we got here? Liam Carrigan, good writer there. And not all Japanese food is healthy. Not everyone in Japan is crazy about anime. Well, everyone who's coming here lately seems to be into anime. Takeshi's Castle is no more, indeed, all the crazy game shows. Japanese people aren't half as serious as we lead to believe. That's right, they actually do have a decent sense of humour. And that's what this person learned, so there you go. What do you know? Skipping right along. What else we got here? Oh man, there's so much awesome stuff this week. So Stephanie Palladino, Caffeine Jedi. she has gone and she told me, she dropped me a note that she's creating a new series. She produces actual like mini series and short films and TV series that she's putting up on the web, like high degree of production. She used to be in Japan, she's based in the UK now, and she actually told me she was going to use my music as the background for this new series, and I was like, awesome. And the very first thing, it's just a short of the upcoming series. This is actually presented as a short film. It's got music made by myself and Jace Mace, which I made using iMachine on my iPad, as background to this kind of abduction murder conversation. Made my week. Awesome. I mean, it's a properly shot. It looks really good. The setup and everything is, for a short film, and it's got my hip hop music playing in the background. Oh, I loved it. It was awesome, and I can't wait to see what else she uses and how she uses it. But her stuff was, yes, James O'Hara was tits. There weren't tits in it, but it was tits. It was really good. Check out my SoundCloud if you want to hear my stuff. But that's what she used, and this is the first usage of it, and it was awesome. So that was really, really good. College-educated foreigners in Japan are freaking out and not going to Japanese companies and leaving Japan, which is a waste of the education that they've had here in Japan. On that, I think probably, I wonder if they're being a little bit susceptible to the negative stereotypes about working in Japanese companies, which there are, and Japanese are the worst perpetrators of them. But there again, having worked in foreign and Japanese, I don't know that foreign, well, at least American companies, they work you to death in those things. I mean, I don't know that they're any gentler or nicer or better to work in, and even being more culturally familiar, it doesn't help, actually, and plus Japan, the idea that Japan is like this is just so stupid when you've got a country full of, and you've invested in getting a degree here. So it's not easy perhaps to find a job at, all the time and so on, but I wouldn't turn down even the idea of looking. It's like these people who say, I'm not going to date Japanese because I don't date Japanese guys or whatever. I don't think you need to prejudge it that much. With companies as well, give them a chance because there are some really good ones out there. So yeah, the New Zealand flag, there we go. There's the flag that won. Do we have the one that lost here? I thought it was much nicer. It's got into the paywall stuff, so I guess not. Never mind. Anyway, old flag won. Cool. Yes, old flag. Man, see, Canada is cool. They're beating us on this stuff, but there we go. Ami Yamato put up another video, and they don't go up very often, so make sure you go and check it out because it is awesome. Google is finally making a YouTube mobile live streaming application, which I'm going to use. Yes, awesome. I put 2 articles on because it was just so awesome. Really wanted to happen. And it's crazy. They have Periscope, now you have Facebook Live. Everyone except YouTube is actually enabling this, and I know some of the reasons for it, but it doesn't matter. Just do it, and they're going to do it. So it's going to be good, and it's going to mean actually a lot more flexibility around this stuff. Just because it's funny in the worst horrible way possible. Some of the funniest rants by Tay are there. Tallest building in Japan, a new tallest building in Japan is about to be built by Tokyo Station. That's pretty awesome. It's going to be Olympic in time for the Olympics. So yeah, that's going to be pretty cool. There's a outline of the plans there in Japanese. There's someone talking about being a lawyer in Tokyo, which I've done myself. They're Australian who worked for a British Australian firm who seems to have the idea it's a lot of work hard, play hard. I worked in an American firm. It was a lot of work hard. wasn't a lot of play hard. It makes me wish I was an Australian lawyer. But yes, Hanami started this weekend. I took that photo yesterday. Beautiful, freezing cold, but beautiful. And that's what it's going to be like next week because it will not rain. It will be beautiful. That's going to work out. Hey, Kanto Kitsune, good to see you. And to Oyajis, we talked about this last night. What we were talking about last night is, keeping the relationship fresh. We've talked about this. I've talked about this with Victor a couple of times. Victor gets in shitty moods, and I've been in the shittiest mood ever tonight. And we talk about, sometimes Victor says, it's changed. I don't know. Why do we keep doing this? And we do it because actually it's fun, and we have nothing better to do with our lives. That's why we keep doing it. But it's fun, and the shows are actually quite good, and last night actually turned out to be quite good. Plus, I've had some ideas myself of how to improve it for a while now. But some of the ideas that we got live on the show last night were actually really, really good, and ones that I'd never thought of or considered before. The idea of segments, the idea of, in fact, there were a bunch, having a Japanese person talking, all sorts of stuff. But it worked out pretty well, actually, and it was really great to have a lot of people on for the first time. The highlight, of course, YouTube history was made. We had Jake Norton's underwear featuring, to go straight from Wikipedia, who was looking great, early morning, but glasses, chill, kind of cool, and talked, and then we flipped immediately Jake Norton next, and were confronted with his underwear, a full rack of his underwear, and all the colors of the rainbow immediately in front of us. You talk about these sort of movies that just manipulate your emotions and take you through highs and lows. You don't get a slap in the face like you do with Jake Norton's underwear. So it was a very exciting show last night. What can I say? And I guess we're going to keep doing it. We're going to try to apply some of the ideas, so long as it doesn't involve too much work or effort on our parts, because otherwise it won't work anymore. It was a good show last night, actually. Sorry about the clickbait. So I felt guilty putting it up, I admit it. It was Victor's idea, but it was kind of effective, and it was worth talking about. So there you go. Team Red Undies. Well, the blue undies look pretty comfortable. I don't know. I was a bit disturbed by the white ones, because I'm not sure that they were entirely white. There we go. See, Lucas knows what I'm talking about. Nurses, there's a shortage in Japan of daycare workers. They're going to increase their pay by 4%. The Democrats are promising to do it by cutting public spending on wasteful public works, which they've promised before, and that wasn't true. So, yeah. There's the Japanese NHK article covering the artificial intelligence. And it was just hilarious to hear the NHK newsreader translating it. The Hokkaido Shinkansen started this week. You can actually go from Tokyo to Hokkaido and back in the same day, provided that you only stay in Hokkaido for 3 minutes, because it takes 4.5 hours. It could take less than 4 hours, but the problem is that Hokkaido has so many cargo trains and such a shitty safety record that they will not run the bullet trains at full speed on full schedule yet, until JR Hokkaido can prove that they can actually run bullet trains without killing people. So it will get better, but at the moment, yes, you can at least go there, but it costs like 4 times the cost of going there by air, and it takes 4 times as long. So you probably do it just more for the sake of having the trip up. But that said, it's cool anyway that we're connecting to Hokkaido, and hopefully it's going to facilitate at least tourism in the north of Japan. You might fly up there and then go around by bullet train, but it's pretty cool. You're in Japan when these things are just random and funny. They're blasting the carpenters over the speakers at a restaurant. Well, that's totally normal to me. As is when the department store or any store plays Auld Lang Syne over the speakers at the end of the day. Yes, so everywhere does that, not just the department, and that's completely normal. The party lasts exactly 2 hours. Well, that's right. You have to leave at the end of the party, and you start at the start of the party. You don't show up fashionably late, and you sure as hell don't hang around after the party. That's normal. I don't understand how any of this is actually distinctive. Everyone waits patiently at the pedestrian crossing, even though there are cars coming. A couple of people jaywalk, but that's right, generally. You see little kids performing their school show at the mall, dancing to hip-hop lyrics so foul you could... Yes, I've seen that, and that is kind of funny indeed. You buy a pencil and they insist on wrapping it, or a banana, green tea isn't tea, it's just a flavour. Well, yeah, that's normal. When it's snowing and a woman walks by wearing a skirt and 2 kids and an umbrella. I remember when I first came to Japan in 1999, I was living in Takao. It's very cold, you get snow out there, and there was, at the time, the Namie Amuro fashion, the Amura fashion was kind of big, which was a bit like bodycon. It was long hair, short miniskirt, high boots, and kind of, and showing bare leg was one of the features of it. And it was like freezing cold. There was like snow and freezing cold, and these women were wearing miniskirts and showing leg above the knee to like the miniskirt rim and the long hair and everything. It was pretty nice. Keep going. When a wooden stamp is more legally binding than a signature, which it is, and frankly, a signature doesn't. Japanese kind of look at you blankly like, why would you rely on a signature? But that's right, of course, the stamp can be used by anybody, so I don't get that either. There are flowers in the public toilet, even if they're fake. Well, yeah. Well, not always though. There's some pretty crappy public toilets. How long does this go for? Jeez, it keeps going, doesn't it? Okay. The waiter chases you down because you forgot your change. That's right, because tipping is stupid and you shouldn't do it. People flash their hazard lights to thank you. Well, again, that's what they're for. People see you leaving. When you see people leaving their valuables unattended in restaurants, people will mark their table when they want to go up and buy something. They'll go and grab a chair and they'll put their wallet on the table and leave it there, which I find hilarious. That's right. Your bill is brought to you on a strip of paper with just the handwritten total on it. That doesn't happen so often. I don't know what that's about, but not so often. Yeah, businesses don't want to be too popular. Well, that's right. If they're good, they don't want to be too popular because they will die under the crush of people. And people wave goodbye or bow until you're out of sight. That's true. So there you go. Yeah, it's pretty legit. 5 resources. If you're making videos, 5 resources to find free music that you can use. Of course, the best source for finding music that you can use is Tokyo Digital Crew, myself, Ben Duncan, who's in the comments, Tai Nakamura, who's in the comments. We've got Foghart, who's coming to Japan. I think he's in Japan right now. I'm going to hopefully meet him this week for the first time. Chitomo Wakaran, Nonbiri Hito. We got awesome crew, as well as Peritune, who's also there on SoundCloud. All of our stuff is free and available for you to use in your video projects. But if you're going around, it's on SoundCloud, and you can find other stuff on SoundCloud as well with proper licenses. CC Mixter, which also uses Creative Commons licenses that you can use. The Vimeo Music Store, the YouTube Music Audio Library, and the Free Music Archive. They're all good sources. Go check them out and get some good music in your videos. But use Tokyo Digital Crew because we the thing, you know. Boy, yes. I talked about this one earlier, passes the novelty competition thing. If you want to learn Japanese on the the novel writing competition, if you want to learn Japanese using YouTube, best channels, this person recommends, who do they recommend? They recommend Japanese Pod 101, which is awesome, and they've been around forever. Pretty Japan, I don't know. I also don't know Uki Nihongo, but why not? Japanese for morons. I got Victor in there, that was nice. And Nihongo Mori Japan, don't know it, but looks cool, so go check those out if you're learning Japanese. Most Japanese kids want to be YouTubers, like that guy. If you want to know more about him, follow PDR because he likes to make fun of him. The YouTube Hanami video is going to come out apparently soon, and there's the guy who's editing it did a nice little video there saying just do it, which I was going to add a clip to it tonight, but my life sucks, so what can I say? Couldn't do it. This is the thing about going to Hokkaido, but only being able to stay for 3 minutes. This was hilarious. This was the Japan Nichan commenters were looking at the story about the Tay artificial intelligence thing being super racist, and they were saying, "Oh, it sounds just like one of us," which was hilarious. Just the fact that they were so self-aware that they recognized immediately that Tay sounds immediately like a Nichanler. And Microsoft is deeply sorry that they created a racist intelligence. So there you go. I actually made some tracks. I made some tracks especially for this, but then shit happened. So let's do the tracks. Let me plug in the sound. I don't have a camera set up for this either, actually. But I'm going to play an outro. So a quick thing on this as well. At the Hanami, I have a plan to have the dance and the rapping and the singing competitions to all be done at 110 beats per minute. So I'm going to bring a metronome or a speaker of some sort so I can do that. And I'm going to have a little bit of a music competition among the members of the Tokyo Digital Crew and anyone else who wants to join, making 110 BPM music that people can then use to create mix-up videos from the competitions that we will have at the Hanami. That will be awesome. So I've been making a couple of 110 tracks. 110, by the way, whenever I've got a few tracks that I know the BPM for, so whenever I'm listening to a track and I'm thinking, is this at speed, I tap my head to the beat, and then I start humming or you know, going through the songs that I know. For example, 120 BPM is Pizza Man, Sex on the Streets. It's a great clap your hands, to clap your hands, yeah. And 110, I love 110. It's the BPM for Sweat From My Balls by CB4. Great movie. Well, the first half of the movie is really good, and it's actually a really good track. The music on that thing is actually really good. Straight Out of Locash, the cover of Straight Outta Compton. Is that going through? Okay. This is actually just a variation on what I did last week to start with. Oh, good one, yeah, chic. That's the first track. I actually made another track. I just made two, and this is just kind of... Oh, wait a minute. This might be a variation on that last one. Ah, okay. No, this is a different track. So let's not do that. Let's do this. And then I'm going to be out, but this is what you're going to be able to rap to at the party. Not yet, they're not on SoundCloud yet, I'll do them later. I haven't mixed it up, I just made this like an hour ago. And that's the end of the show. Hope you enjoyed it. Sorry it was late. It's what it is. We're on 58 minutes and 8 seconds, so it turns out I thought I was going to do it quickly, but I couldn't. But that's the end of the show. I hope you all have a great week, and I'm going to see a lot of you, I hope, at the Hanami next Saturday. It's going to be awesome. Even if it's raining, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be the hub and karaoke, or it's going to be the park and awesomeness. So we'll see you there soon. I'll see you again this time next week, right here on Tokyo Tonight, and I hope you guys all have a great week. And thank you for joining me an hour late and behind schedule. It's a great turnout anyway, and I really appreciate all the comments and feedback and all that good stuff. If you like the show, like, because I like you the likes, and you know, if you don't worry about it. Just don't have to click. Well, people do anyway. So have a good night, and see you next week, and peace. Let's turn this off. I've changed my monitor setup actually right now. You might see that it's like lots of different stuff there. So yes, okay. Stop. In the name of love. Oh, for the ladies, 130 pounds of beef. Yeah. Anyway, see you before.